Jager, you hear me?
Yo,
Oh, there you go. Sorry, I was muted. How you doing today?
good. How are you?
Good, good, good. Thank you for coming on. 16th episode with Jager and leader of Old Guard. So, tell us a little bit about yourself. I don't really know much. I've followed your YouTube channel for a while, though.
Well, I've been playing MO2 since early beta, and I started Old Guard with a group of see, there was a group of 8 of us, and slowly, there wasn't a lot of content at that point, so a lot of them, gravitated towards other games, and at one point it was just me keeping the lights on, and helped found the coalition in the east side of the map. So um, Old Guard has been on the west side of the map. We've been there for the whole time pretty much since then.
Yeah, yeah. I remember when you guys used to own the keep there by Spider Valley, which now is Smoking Snakes, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah, I mean the keep gameplay really had been getting stale for a long time, and we'd been looking for a way out of the keep for quite a while. We kept it for the last server war, which was a lot of fun. We were hoping we would have had a larger scale battle there, but it never really came. So it was time to sell it and move on to different things.
Yeah, I remember there was like always some like random sieges, and they weren't really real sieges. It was
Yeah,
almost like they were just there for like a skirmish.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's cool though. That's cool. So as a keep owner, how would you recommend it in its current the current way it's set up? Do you recommend keeps?
I mean, the taxes are coming along. You can now kind of make a little bit of a profit. Overall, unless there's a big battle on your doorstep, I don't see personally. I don't see why you would really want to do that. Even smoking snakes, you don't really find them around their keep too much.
Mhm.
I don't know. Big paperweight.
Yeah, yeah. But what are some pros you can talk about?
I guess it's good for recruiting people that come into the game brand new, see the keeps, and go, "Oh wow, look at that! It's a big castle." You can hold training sessions that are largely uninterrupted in your courtyard. Uh, I guess if you were so inclined, you could create a city on in the courtyard and open it up to the public. I don't think a lot of people have done that.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I do know that there's been talk about adding guild-owned brokers and shit like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, that's something that's missing big time. Once that happens, once we have trade brokers and pet brokers for keeps, that would be fantastic.
I know they did talk about what was it? What was that thing to do with pets? The
Breeding.
ability, yeah, breeding. Yes, the ability to mate the
Yeah,
pets. Yeah, that'll be interesting.
yeah.
He hasn't really talked too much details on all the things. I feel like there's been a lot of vague hints at things, but never really any depth to it. Do you
Yeah, I
think?
don't. I think that must mean they have it on kind of a back burner. They're not really working on that right now. Big time would be my guess.
Right, but you think it's in the works.
I would hope so, but you never know with this team.
Right, it's true. Because I mean, we did have breeding back in MO1, so it's a little bit confusing for me personally why it's not implemented into MO2 along with a lot of the features from MO1. Um, I know you're telling me that you didn't know about it at MO1, but yeah, there was a lot of content on MO1 that's just simply not in MO2, which is really crazy to me considering the vast size difference of the games. The maps are completely different in size. MO1 was a lot smaller.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I'm really hoping at some point we're going to see those implementations, but like you said, we don't know with this team. Like this most recent update, the overhead was bugged for what, 3 days?
Yeah, I heard. I didn't see it myself, but I heard. Yeah,
Yeah, like people would actually rebind their keys. So I don't know if you knew, you can rebind like the V key to your mouse.
yeah.
Yeah, people
Hmm.
were doing that just in order to have an overhead, which I didn't do. I didn't, cause I play a lot of other games as well. Like I play CS and Valorant and things like that. So I play a lot of FPS games. I can't do that. I can't afford to do that. Um, so I'm glad they finally fixed it, but yeah, it was a pain in the ass for me, especially because I just re-rolled characters with something else recently.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it.
What were you?
Well, I was a human. Now
You a
I'm
mage?
human hybrid. Now it's a full Thursar.
So now that tactician is gone,
Yeah, well,
moving on.
tactician
Yep.
minus 25%, like that was pretty wild. And then
Yeah.
Bond, now it's based off of your intellect.
Yep.
Yeah, so I just thought it was like I couldn't find a good reason to keep it when Thursars are just so much better overall for melee.
Yes, they are.
Um,
Very, very strong choice right now.
yeah, 100%. I mean, everyone's rolling fucking Thursar now. And even with Stig, you're still able to get decent heals. It's only 20% of a debuff.
Wow.
Yeah. And then, not to mention, if you do group fighting, you're mainly a midliner as a Thursar with a spear. Because, I mean, the reach is absolutely insane with the Thursar. And then you do crazy fucking damage, too. And then just dueling, you're usually bound to win a 1v1 unless you're just terrible.
Yeah, Thursars do crazy damage nowadays. I've got hit for 160 or something like that a couple days ago.
I got hit for 170
Oh,
or once. And then when I was wearing full steel, I got hit for 90 in the head.
geez.
Yeah. Somebody in Nightfall hit me for 90 in the head when I was wearing full steel. Forgot who it was. Uh, but yeah, that was absolutely insane. I know
Nightfall
they.
did pretty good. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying, like, yeah, I mean, of course that's Nightfall. Like, they're gonna have the best trinkets in the
Yep.
game. Yeah,
Yep.
so
And
can't
they did pretty
really.
good in the recent Razor Cup in the tournament. They did pretty good. Good showing.
Yeah. They did good. It was unfortunate that Razor got kicked out real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of hilarious considering that was
Each,
his tournament.
each round, though, he was focused. They of course they know how to focus him. He's really good at the game. So
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. But he was using a spear, which I thought was
yep.
very interesting. You don't see him using spears. So tell me though, what do you think this game really critically needs at the moment? Let's get to the brass tacks.
If I had to point at something, content, and at a finer point on it, I would say probably thievery. I would not take thievery. I'm a mage, alchemist. I'm not going to change into a thief class, but I know that a lot of people have left the game. Uh, Promises of thievery a long time ago just kind of seem to dwindle into nothing, and there's no real word on thievery. Removing it from parts of the roadmap here and there. I think bringing thievery back would bring a lot of people who used to play back and could get people who have never played interested in the game.
I agree. Um, I think it does add a significant amount of content. I'm very curious to see how it's going to work in MO2. Because obviously they can't use the same system they had in MO1. The system at MO1 didn't have very many consequences. You could do a lot of silly shit. And it was almost like a griefing mechanic for MO1, I believe. And I believe that they would need to make significant overhauls. I think that might be why we haven't seen it yet.
It could be. Like I said, I didn't play MO1, so I don't really know what it was like back then. I've heard some stories, but yeah, they would have to fit it in and make it not, push people away at the same time.
Right. So you're saying people actually left because they haven't implemented the system.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Well, I mean, they've been talking about it since beta, and then it just seems like it fell off the map for the most part.
Oh yeah, 100%. A lot of things have been talked about in this game for fucking ever, right? Even the things that they've recently just fixed have been in the talks since 2 years ago. So
Yep.
yeah, I'm glad that Starvault's finally taking this momentum to push out all these patches and these quality of life fixes to make things better and fulfill promises made 2 years ago. But I mean, is it enough? Do you think to keep the game going?
I think for right now they're doing a decent job. It seems like there's definitely a lot more content now than there was a year ago. So I've been, like I said, here from the beginning of MO2, and they've made decent progress. There's enough to keep people here and engaged on a long-term basis right now. But
But
it's definitely still missing some things. Breeding, um, what farming or gardening or whatever. We've been saving up all these seeds forever. I think having your garden raided by people or raiding somebody's garden and getting salvia or whatever they're growing in there would be cool.
Dracon, that'd be pretty badass,
Yeah,
honestly.
dude.
But that's the thing I really want in this game. When you siege somebody's shit, you should be able to loot it. I'm just
Yeah.
saying. Like I know it's gonna suck, and it's happened to me and my guildmates before, where we lose a structure, but we're like, oh, it's fine because we're just gonna take our shit.
Yeah.
It would
No
bring
consequence.
a lot. Yeah, there's no consequence. I believe that there should be a consequence to a lot of those things because, like you're saying, being able to like loot somebody's farm, it why wouldn't I be able to loot your house? If I destroy your home, I should be able to loot your shit, right?
Well, listening to Henrik, he says that he doesn't want, and I can understand he doesn't want like the new player who's playing by himself, who saved up for his little small house, it get torn down by a megazerg or something like that, and just immediately looted. GG, thanks for all your stuff. But if you make it so small houses can't be looted right away, you're just going to have large guilds move to just a series of small houses.
That is true. That is true. Like I mean, you see it in Rust, where the server Zerg will loot everything in sight. You know. Sorry, I'm trying
So
to think.
they got to find a way to balance that in.
Oh yeah, 100%. I don't know how they're going to be able to do it though, because unless they make it instance based. So let's just say it was a small guild that you're getting sieged, right?
Mm.
Maybe it has to be a maximum, like say it's a 5-man guild, you can only send 5 of your guys in, like a 5v5 or something rather equivalent, right? That way it's not like 5 guys getting sieged by 40 guys or something.
Yeah, what wouldn't large guilds just break apart into smaller guilds and ally each other?
Sure. No, but what I'm saying is make it instant based, where you can't have a shit ton of players in this
Oh, I see.
instance.
I see.
Yeah. Like
Right, right,
other,
right.
like in other games, sieges is instant based. So I'm saying make it limit the players
I
that
see.
can join. Yeah,
Right. That's not a bad idea.
yeah. I think it would be interesting to see maybe some sort of separation from the whole Zerg complaining mentality thing that people always cry about.
Hmm.
And it would solve a lot of things, and it would truly be skill based. It wouldn't be a numbers game at the end of it. It would just be, small, like small time PvP, right? That's 100% skill based, not just being overrun by 40 guys versus 5. And I feel like there'd be zero crying at that point. There's no excuse for crying at that point. If you lose, you lose. Simple as that. You got outskilled. You got outclassed.
Yeah,
But
I can appreciate the fairness of it, but at the same time, we're also starting to drift away from the sandbox.
yeah, exactly. That's true too, though. We are in a sandbox game. And I think that's what makes it so interesting, so unique, because it also develops all these crazy politics and all these people that are trying to make like anti-Zer coalitions. I don't know if you remember when Rands was trying to do his thing. It never happened.
Yeah,
It was all just talk, but it creates a lot of these interesting things. I mean, remember when Anita Woody did the Defiance of Alliance?
yeah.
That didn't last long.
Nope.
But there was there was that one war against Coalition. I think a year or 2 years ago.
ACT.
ACT, yes, ACT
That was
happened.
great. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that was really cool. I think Barados was part of the opposition. Uh,
Mhm.
Tatsuo was in there. Like, yeah, all these like MKRG, all the guilds that don't exist anymore were part of this huge like anti-coalition. And then I remember there was the Fab Militia that used to fight against people zerging people at the graveyards.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
That was crazy. It was a
Yeah,
lot of fun. We had some really big fights right outside of Maduli.
yeah, like I remember watching those videos too. Like that's crazy shit. Like I wish there was more of that, but I feel like there's not many people leader types that can you know handle all the crazy egos that we got going on in this game,
Yeah, that's
or
probably true.
the language barriers for Rands, for instance. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's it's
I think
it's
I think it'll happen again. We'll get more of that. It's just it happens organically, you know.
it does happen organically. I do agree, and I believe that there will be another server war soon.
I hope
Um,
so.
I didn't like though that the three largest Zergs in the game allied up last time, but I think we won't see that this time because Coalition and Carney Rat Alliance have been fighting a hell of a
Oh
lot
yeah,
recently. So I
yeah.
know we won't see that nutclap alliance happen in the
Nope.
future. I could picture Odin Seed and Carney or Odin Seed and Coalition though. So I know they kind of keep decent relations from what I understand. I don't know the exact story there. But there has been a shift of alliances recently. I've noticed. The jungle has been a very big hotspot.
Indeed.
Um, Unlikely allies have formed. Um, the all fight like tribe and pillows, and it's absolutely crazy. And I remember at Acer from Pillows lost 32 Mangs during their
Oh.
last siege. He was swimming with them in the water.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's a lot of craziness going on down in the jungle right now, and they're still like they're siege decking every day. It's absolute insanity. I don't know why people are, because sometimes they're ghosting the sieges. So on that note, and I don't know if you agree with this, should people be penalized for not even attacking?
No, I think that can be used as a strategy. That we get back to the sandboxy part of the game where you're free to do things like that as a strategical
Well,
measure.
I don't agree with the siege windows.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're still kind of testing the waters with it. Other than okay, beforehand we just didn't have sieges.
Yeah, like originally I thought it'd be a great idea, right? Because I mean, who wants to get offline? That shit sucks.
No, yeah,
But I was thinking to myself, where's the realism, right? Where's that sandbox? You're just sure it's kind of sandboxy still, but you have a 6 hour window, which isn't very much time to siege. Like let's just pretend X Guild was gonna go siege Smoking Snake's Keep, right? Let's use that example since it's X Old Guard Keep. 6 hours to siege that keep is not actually very much time considering how much defense would come for that keep, right?
yeah,
Because you're going to have the whole coalition army come down to defend that keep. And, I mean, that fight could go on for hours, right?
yeah,
I don't think
yeah.
6 hours is
It could take
enough.
up that whole 6 hours easy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. And then the defender's like, oh, it's like an hour left. Oh, we don't need to worry about it, guys. They can't do shit.
yeah,
You guys can log out now.
yeah. Maybe they'll adjust it at some point to give it more time. But like I was saying before the siege windows, I like the idea of you have no idea when you could get sieged as a defending team. All of a sudden some army comes out of the woods and you had no one knew at all. There's no notification, hey, you're going to be sieged at this time. It can just show up. I like that idea, but we just weren't having sieges. It wasn't happening.
Right.
So having these, you're vulnerable at this time. Okay, back it up again. You weren't getting siege because of how all the defenses worked. It was
Right.
almost impossible,
The
and no
defense
one
system
wanted
was
to do it.
horrible.
Yeah, yeah. So now your defenses are down for a window. We're actually having siege happen now, so that's good. That's a move in the right direction, I suppose. But again, getting away from the sandboxy nature of the game. I don't know. I guess it's on them to find a fix for it, really.
Right. No, I agree. I like the fact, like I now like that we could siege people whenever, because it gave more reason for TC structure usage.
Hmm.
Um, I'm talking about alert towers, all that, right? It gave you a reason to be spamming those things across the map. Now, people just spam them around their structures, right? To give a good general idea when a siege deck happens, where people are. Or they place it around certain POIs to know if their enemies are a POI of one specific, right? But then, of course, then you have the issue with the war deck system, where you can't war deck a guild if they don't have murderers.
True, but you
Right.
can siege deck them.
You can siege deck them, but you can't war deck them. So,
Right.
which is, I mean, in my opinion, kind of silly as fuck. Just because, what's the fucking point? I mean, why should I have to worry now that there's some guys that we fight running around my territory that I can't siege deck because, you know, I know that's how companions rolls. So I don't like that part of the system. I think there should be more risk for people. I think you should be able to war deck anybody, even if they don't have murderers in the guild. I feel like that's a very silly mechanic. What are your thoughts on
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. I do. I agree. Uh, but I'm not sure what they could do really to fix that.
I mean, just remove the fact that you can't not war deck people, I guess.
So you can just war deck anybody.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. Sure.
Or like a mechanic where if a member of your guild has gotten a confrontation with another person of another guild and they died or killed somebody, or actually, better yet, they died to that guild or a member of that guild, and now registers that that guild has been aggressed by that ex guild. So why not? And then you should be able to do a war deck on that guild, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like something they could just at least give a shot, and if it ends up not working, they can back it off. But yeah, I don't see why that would really hurt much.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think that obviously we're still a growing in game that's going forward in certain directions, and the politics of the game are very interesting. A lot of drama and a lot of people that take things very seriously, which I think is very entertaining.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, like honestly, I joke about a lot of shit, and people get triggered over it, which I find extremely hilarious and entertaining, and it's content, so I'll record it, right? Um, because I don't really take this game too seriously. I'm actually going to be taking a break soon from this game to play Tarkov when it wipes. So that's like my main game. Uh, so like, yeah, I just for you listeners out there, please understand I do not take this game as serious, and everything I say is mainly just to trigger you. Um, but anyways, moving on to the next part of the topic. So, have you heard about my idea of a red protected city?
No.
Really? Okay. So there's a thing I'm working on. It's going to be going to Henrik with a lot more detail soon. You know how he's supposed to be expanding the Underdark.
Yeah.
So I have a proposition. I'm not a murderer, by the way. I just think this would be a really cool thing to do in the game. Have a Underdark city that's separate from the races. Some are kind of hidden, Doesn't have to be massive. Can be small, but have it owned by a new faction. Could be whatever faction, honestly. It could be a murderer faction. It could be whatever you want to go about it. But it's for murderers only. It's a red town protected. Only way you get reputation with this faction is by finding hidden task vendors hidden throughout Ireland.
Wow.
Yes. And then, because if you don't have any rep and you try to go to the city, their guards will kill you, even if you are a murderer. So, and these tasks can only be completed by those that have above 5 murder count. Well, I think is it 10? 5? I think it's 5 still.
It's 5. That's a cool idea, man.
Yeah, and then if you kill somebody inside the red town that's protected, you lose rep with the faction, and the guards will kill you. So it's a completely protected red town. And I was thinking, like, add things like attractors, notoriouses, things like in the main big cities, have it in this city. So it's a town for reds that they can be in without worrying about getting ganked. But the way to get there, they have to work for it, right? Because, by going red, it's not very hard to go red, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's really rather easy to go red. What I'm saying, let's change it up. Let's make it more of a experience for those that want to go down the murder path. Let's give them options on how to, I guess, take it to an extreme. What are your thoughts?
I'd consider asking them to put a second blast furnace down there, having just one on the map. I mean, I get it. That's cool that there's only one, and you'd have to own and protect and guard that town, and have to, I like that, but it sounds like this would be a cool spot for a second one.
Yeah, 100%. Well, we know we're gonna get one in Serduka.
Yeah.
God knows when that's gonna happen, though.
Yeah.
He keeps talking about it, and he keeps saying that it's looking amazing, but we haven't seen a single picture from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think we should be so hard focused on a larger map at this point.
Yeah.
Maybe bringing in more people with more content to necessitate a larger map.
But they're saying they're going to make it an NA server.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, and I did talk to him last month about it, and he said it was going to be an NA server. So, if that is true, that could bring in a lot of players that refuse to play this game because it's on an EU server.
Yeah, you could have people then that just play in Serduka primarily. Yeah, that's cool.
Exactly, and I keep seeing mixed reviews, people saying they do not care, people that say they care. I did notice, though, that there's a large existing player base in MO2 currently that would only play out of Serduka, just because they prefer to play on NA ping, because they the people that do the NA ping crying.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I would say I notice the ping difference when I fight people, but I won't complain about it. But it is very noticeable. So for those that are definitely more, I guess, competitive with the PvP in this game, I can see why it's a big issue.
Yeah.
I know people are so into it and want to be competitive in so many ways that they download things like exit lag, anything that will help drop their ping and connection and give them less MS.
Yeah, if you have former players that left solely based on that, that could definitely help the population of the game.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm really hoping that we can see some of this content come out fast, sooner than later, honestly. I think, we're going to go back a bit. We have the breeding, we have the guild-owned brokers. There's so much content that still needs to be released in Ireland, though, before we can move to Serduka.
Yeah.
Ships need to be released. If we open up Serduka, we need ships. I'm just saying, we have to be real. People cannot just have the bridge to Serduka, because you're going to have all the ganker guilds in the game sit at the bridge and wait for people.
Is that what it was like in MO1?
Well, MO1 is a little bit different because people can place structures like walls. They can wall off whole areas.
Right, right.
So MO1 was kind of a disaster in that sense. Um, Everything could be sealed off, and access to content was unavailable unless you're part of that guild. Uh, I only imagine, though, with MO2, that would be the situation, because we already have guilds that specifically do that. They specifically sit at specific areas to camp, right? Like, I mean, think about the famous Omerta. Think about Purgai. Like,
Yep.
Saramat. All the ganker guilds in the game, basically. Let's just think about them. Their primary goal is to get rich off ganking people. And what else would it be to be the best way to make gold? With people trying to move over stronghold deeds and mass amounts of gold across the only entrance to the new continent.
Indeed.
Right. So, I mean, I already know I'm going to be taking deeds across that bridge.
That's what spices the game up.
Yeah.
The ganking,
Yeah, I'm going to be taking a tier 1, maybe even a tier 2 stronghold deed with me across that bridge with all the building materials I need. Right? Which is a lot of materials, by the way. And all it takes is one big group to just swoop all that up and make it their own, right? So it has to be like, I don't know. I think boats are going to be a necessity. People expect that we're going to be able to, I don't know.
I think once Sarduka has they've made X amount of progress on it, Henrik will get excited and do sneak peeks as it's approaching. And even if they're not ready with ships at the same time, they could probably do some kind of, workaround until ships are ready with the bridge to make sure that, that wasn't the case. But at the same time, that's part of the game. That's part of that sandboxy part of the
Yeah,
game.
and I'm excited for it
Ahead.
because people are going to be taking keep deeds across that bridge.
Yep.
Everyone's going to try and get their keep. There's going to be, I think, 4 or 5 keeps available in Sarduka, maybe more.
That's going to be spicy, man.
Yeah, and everyone's going to be fighting to get those spots. So, yeah. Best way to get that deed, obviously, take it from the guys who are trying to build. Wait for them. And then it's going to be some crazy PvP, honestly.
Henrik will occasionally talk about Sarduka, but he doesn't talk about boats too much. So I don't know how much progress they're making on boats.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting one. I was thinking, maybe you could swim, though? The Sarduka? Because we don't have any hostile fish in the water yet, right? And technically, horses float no matter how much weight is on them.
Yeah, but your hostile fish are earthquake mages.
That's true. That's true. But what happens if I took a big caravan of horses from, Tindrum, right? And then just... Mm-hmm. I feel like I wouldn't really run into too many people, if any.
Yeah, maybe not.
And then maybe if I do it, the middle of the night when everyone's sleeping or something. I don't know.
Now that you said that, there's going to be somebody there waiting for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Reality is I'm actually going to be leaving from Slavs Island.
Yeah, there you go.
And there you go. And I'll have 2 stacks of gold and a keep deed. It's going to be an amazing day once the continent comes out, but it has to be properly developed. It can't be rushed. It cannot be rushed. There's too many issues. There was too many issues with Ireland, so I think that was a great learning experience for Starvault to implement taking their time and just do it right. But I kind of lost that faith in the company with the recent patches, that they always seem to be breaking more things and need to be bringing out hot fixes every single time a big massive patch comes out. I do get that it's very normal, though, for a lot of indie dev teams to always come out with a new bunch of content and then break something and then have to require some new, updates. I do know that that's normal. I've
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
can.
the overhead thing, they got after that pretty quick. But I've in their history of MO2 so far, they're really starting to they've learned their lesson, and they're putting forward a lot more PTRs now, where they let us come in there and test a few things beforehand. When they didn't do that, you had a lot more breakage.
Yeah, that is true. I do remember specifically. What was it? Oh fuck! How did I forget? I literally had the thought in my fucking head. I fucked up. All right, scratch that.
Right?
Um, God damn, dude, it's not itching me. I need to remember what I was about to say.
Yeah, I hate when I do that.
All right, fuck it. All right, so, um, motherfucker, bro, fucking hate that. If I remember, I'm gonna say it. I'm just gonna
It'll
interrupt you
come
and
back
say it.
later. It'll
All
come
right.
back later.
Yeah. All right. So, what do you think will come first, though? Underdark, Serduka, Gibraltar, or the Schnerian Isles?
Probably Underdark. I think they don't really need to bring in a whole new continent with a server based somewhere else. There's a lot less work for them to do to get that done. I think I've heard him talk about that a little more recently than Sarduka, so I think they might actually be working on that.
And then there's supposed to be an Ogmere city in the Underdark underneath the Minnow dungeon too.
Yeah, that's cool, dude. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've wondered what they're going to do with those other entrances that seem sealed.
Well, that's the part that always triggers me too. There's so many entrances at Minnow dungeon, yet there's technically only one in use.
Yeah.
Which, for a dungeon of that mass proportion, shouldn't be the case. I really think they need to open up and make more entrances, not just for Minnow though, all dungeons. There's so many dungeons out there that only have very minimal entrances. For
Yeah,
example,
give it a shot.
Seder Dungeon, super OG dungeon, but we only have one entrance. He did talk about making multiple entrances and exits, but have we seen it? No. Uh, Necro Dungeon does have a bunch of exits, but only one entrance. Um, they did do good with the new recent dungeons, like Sanctum, Undercroft, Meslar's Vault. Meslar's Vault maybe could use one more exit. I feel like two exits it's a great way forward, but I think it's fairly easy to camp those two only entrances.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so my recommendation would be maybe one more entrance or two more.
Pretty
Um,
cool.
they did say they're going to redo the loot tables on dungeons like Seder Dungeon, like the OG dungeons. So that would be exciting to see, but we haven't seen that, and it's kind of concerning because that was talked about a long time ago. So I'm not too sure if we're just falling into some repetition of saying we're gonna do shit, and then they only deliver like on it 2 years later.
Yeah, I mean, on the Seder dungeon, they are adding a lot of content into the jungle right now. So uh, they could roll one of those um, new POIs into another, entrance somehow or something. They could easily add one.
No, I agree, and I believe though that open world loot needs to be expanded on before that happens though as well, because there's so many POIs in the open world that are simply not worth the risk to go loot. The risk versus reward is just not there, in my opinion. What are your thoughts on that?
For risk for what?
Risk versus reward
For what though?
for open worlds POIs.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it depends on what you're looking for. Some of them that's where you find this mount's satchel or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They just
Mm-hmm.
they gotta add reasons to go there to make the risk worth the reward.
No, I can feel that. I'm just hoping that they actually do it. That's the only problem I'm currently having with the game is that we talk about so much. but only deliver so little.
Yeah, adding meaningful content is really what they need to do at this point.
Right, because Dungeons is great. Don't get me wrong. Dungeons is great. It's enhanced money making methods, but it's not bringing, I think, more useful material for the day to day, for like the open world stuff. I'm glad that they did change, like they basically nullified stage spotting though. That's a great step in the right direction.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't know. Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I could see why people would not like save spotting, and you should have to use your skill in the game, I think, to take out mobs, and you shouldn't be able to clear an entire room with one sweep. It can be tough as a mage, but that's also part of it. The game isn't meant to be easy.
100%. Exactly. And I feel like a lot of people want that easy way out.
People always want the easy way out.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I don't want to really go into it, but think about the RMP's situation. I mean, I noticed that there's a lot more people getting banned recently, so thank God for that. But people
Yep.
picking the easy way out.
I don't pay too much attention to the bans and all that, but I've heard people talking about it, and they say that they're not. That a lot of the times they're not very meaningful bans. That you'll get temp banned, or you'll ban their account, and then their assets will get deleted, but they're not actually banned. They can come back into the game after a certain period of time.
Really,
That's just what I heard. I'm not really paying that close attention, so if I don't know. I could
I,
be wrong, but that's just what I've heard.
I'm actually gonna. I want to look into that. That's actually a really interesting topic. Just because if that is the case, that's kind of sad. I feel like that's something that should be permanently banned.
I mean, all someone would have to do is, new PC, new connection, right? Or VPN, or I'm
But
sure
if you're
there's ways
spending that
around it.
much money though on a game just to be unbanned, that's absolutely absurd.
I don't know.
Like you gotta spend a lot of fucking money. Or I know there's a software that you can spoof your hardware ID. I know that's a thing.
I'm sure.
There's just so much work that goes into all that, though.
I'm not even.
It's just not worth it. What are people thinking, man?
Yeah, I'm not even sure I know somebody who's been banned directly. I just hear people talk. Oh, so and so's guild got banned, or this guy got banned. And they'll talk about it. That's
Yeah.
so I don't really know what I'm talking about, but I've heard that people. It's not super meaningful. I could be wrong though.
Well, the most recent ban wave was that I'm aware of was the mastery potion exploit.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, people were spending a couple gold and getting like stacks the potion
Yeah.
mastery. Um, I know like a bunch of people got banned, but then some people got unbanned apparently for doing the exploit. So I was a little bit confused by that. Um, I already talked with the mastermind behind one of the guilds that did it, and he admitted that he believed he deserved a permanent ban for doing it, but there was a bunch of other people that did it and got unbanned.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And apparently, that exploit had been something that people were also doing with Ogmium Flux.
I heard that.
Yeah, people were taking the Ogmium Flux and then selling it to the vendor and making free gold. Like, that's absolutely crazy to me. That basically you're suggesting, in that sense, that people have had free, or, there's been a money printer in the game for a long time. Which
Yeah,
could, yeah, I don't know.
personally, when you cheat on that level, when you cheat like that, it's gonna eventually make the game not fun. For yourself or people around you who you're handing money to. So I mean, you're kind of ruining the game for yourself. I would think. Maybe not everybody. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to ruin this game for myself like that.
no, I agree. It gets boring, I don't, you are taking the shortcut to win, But what are you gonna do after you win? What are you gonna do after you got everything you want? Right? It's all about that build up, and then because of that build up, you admire it more, you appreciate it more. If you
Yeah.
just got that whole like what someone would maybe take in a whole year or 2 years to get to in a month in a week, you don't feel that like that appreciation. I don't know if that's the right word I'm looking for.
Yeah, there's some people that just can't handle one single solitary L. They just it has to be wins all the time, and they don't want to farm.
Oh
So
yeah,
I could see them doing it, but I could also see them burning out and not playing the game.
yeah, I can feel that. I was doing a lot of research into some of those things, and it's absolutely crazy to me too, what people are doing for the access to become a cheater. Basically, it's absolutely absurd to me. But I mean, it is what it is, and hopefully they get caught. Apparently, people are getting caught for cheating, so thank God for that. But if they are getting only a temp ban, then the game might have bigger issues. Then, if that's the case, I don't know. That's just my personal thought. But hey, Jager, appreciate you coming out to the show today, man.
Yeah,
I didn't want to keep it on too long today. I do have some IRL stuff I need to handle.
no
But
worries,
I'm
dude.
glad
Thanks
that
for
you
having
can
me.
meet up with me, bro. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I like what you're doing here, man. I think it's good for the game overall.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you. You have a good one, okay?
Yeah, you too.
Bye bye.
Broken your heart. Broken your heart.
Yeah, like shorty, what it do? Got a bad bitch on me, I'ma leave with you. If I walk up in the party, motherfuckers better move. If a motherfucker try me, I'ma put him on the news. Goddamn, I don't want no